So the first thing we need to do is prepare our work bed for the rotary. We need to remove the front side panel. Then we also need to remove the honeycomb. To do this, we need to lower the bed down to its lowest setting. And remove the honeycomb. I have already removed the knife blades to make a place for the rotary to sit in the flat lowest part of the bed. The magnetic feet allow it to sit right into the bed. I try to line it up with, there's a little like hump in the bottom of the bed, so I line the feet up to that to make sure that it's straight. Now we can plug in the rotary. I had to get an adapter so that the 6-pin hookup will work on the Eon laser, and it plugs right into the front of the Eon. Alright, so I'm going to do a 30-ounce hydro jug style tapered tumbler. So the first thing we need to do is measure where the grip grabs a hold of the cup. And so that is going to be 315. This one's going to be a little bit trickier because it has a little bit of a taper at the top. So I got a 315 at the top, but just below the handles it is only about 310 in its circumference. And I'm talking about in millimeters. It's right at 310, maybe 311. So we kind of have to look at that when we're doing our design. I usually always want my design to start at the handle and work its way around. So then we're going to put the tumbler onto the Rotoboss. It's going to get a hold, make sure it's flat and flush against each of the pieces. I usually always want my handles lining up with that little piece just because it gives me something easy to measure against. Move our head to the tumbler. Another piece that we need to make sure we remember to do is change our lens. And I got the optics kit, which came with currently that comes standard with the 2-inch lens that doesn't give us enough clearance for the tabs. So we're going to need to change that out for a 2.5-inch lens for the red line is a simple slide it out. I'll go ahead and warn you, be very careful. That still can fall out of there. So I try to set it gently there. And I'm going to use the 2.5-inch lens to get better clearance. And it just simply goes there and snaps into place. The one I'm not using, I'll slide back into my focus lens and put that away. Now because I have switched the lenses out, my focal distance is not the same, so I cannot use my autofocus without doing some changing. And I've also got tabs in the way, so I'm just going to manual focus. And this measures up to 20.5 millimeters, and it's right at 20.5 millimeters is the focal length, so focal distance. So I'm going to then use this to bring my bed up. Test it one more time. That's pretty close right there. All right. So I'm going to make sure it is still flat against the cup, still tight, and tighten this knob back down. So my cup is now I need to know also the height of the cup. So from the top lip to the bottom, and that is right at 217 millimeters. And that has the cup now set. So it is set up at an angle so that I have this, I focus in at the top, I focus in at the bottom, I tighten down all of my knobs, and I take the red dot now to right at the top. Very hard to do that, but you want the red dot to be right there, that's it, and you want to set your origin. First thing we want to do is open Lightburn. You're going to also need to import the graphics that you want to engrave. You can purchase full wraps or create your own, but that's for another video. Most graphics come in like this, where you're looking at it straight on. To do it on a rotary, you need to rotate it 90 degrees. Next, choose your layer in Lightburn. I choose the black layer and set it to fill. Then you need to just set your speed, power, and interval according to your particular laser settings. Next, we need to set up our rotary. If you go to the Laser Tools tab at the top of the screen, and under that there's Rotary Settings, you can activate it. You can also turn it on in the Tools tab at the top of the screen with the little icon, or there's Enable Rotary on the laser settings. The circumference is the circumference around the cup. You want your steps per rotation to 12,800 for the Rotoboss Talon. And then make sure Enable Rotary setting is set and that you're using the chuck. Now we need to verify the size of the graphics. We get this from the size of the cup that we actually were using. We measured the cup and it was 217 millimeters in the height of the cup, and that will be the width in this. And the circumference is what the circumference was of our tumbler at the largest point at the chuck. And that on this cup was 315. Now we need to set where our job will start from. I always use user origin, and the job origin would be the top right hand corner, so it starts right at the top where the tabs of the cup start. We always make sure air assist is turned off, so it will use the internal air of the Eon. Then send the job to the laser. I named it Stitch, just so you name it to verify the file on the laser is what you're actually engraving. If you highlight the little computer screen at the top of the window, that lets you preview your job time. It gives us an idea how long the job is going to take. This 30-ounce tumbler is going to take us 22 minutes. So here on the Mira we have now our file is Stitch, which it's saying right there. I have it set up in here. If I now hit frame, it will frame my design using the rotary. If I wanted to move the rotary at all, I have to hold the shift button and the Y direction for it to turn it. But I've already got this set up, so I'm going to hit frame, and now it's going to frame the design around the cup. Should go all the way around to the where it started, runs down to the bottom of the cup, and frames back around again. So now we're set up. Everything has been double checked. I double checked my focus points. It is lined up. The Stitch is the file ready to go. So all I do now is hit start. Verifying my air pressure, I'm using the internal air pump. It says it is at 3.3 psi. Now remove the tumbler from the rotary and go clean up all the residue. And here is our completed tumbler, all shined up using LA Awesome and a magic eraser. Thanks for watching.